My name is Summer Sullivan, and welcome to my interview show, 16 Minutes of Life Experience. But today, it is 21 years of life experience because I have my friend Megan Rasnowski, our special guest, who's going to give you life advice and ponder on different things with me and talk about the greatest book series in the world with me. And we're just going to have a good time. So, let's get into it. So the first thing I like to do when I have a guest on here, Megan, is give a little background of like why we know each other, how we know each other. We met each other playing softball in northern Michigan for a team that is actually called the Thundercats.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like, I feel like I was so numb to that. Like, it didn't seem weird to me at the time, but saying it out loud, the Thundercats,
Like,
where did that came from?
What is that?
What is a Thundercat? Or, like, the Snowbirds. Like, looking back on it, I'm like,
What is
that something that exists?
I think someone was just like, here's a cat. How do we make it different? I think the best thing ever was that we were the Thundercats. We had, like, lightning-themed uniforms.
Yeah.
I think that was really ironic.
I didn't even think about that either. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Shouldn't we have been lightning cats? Anyways, we could talk about this for hours. We played together for 3 years. And now you go to college for political science, correct? I was guessing.
Yeah, no, you're so right. You're so right.
And I also just wrote in my notes, I just put Chris Stapleton concert.
Right, that was a good one.
Because we went and saw Chris Stapleton this summer with each other to prove our friendship is alive and thriving.
Of course.
So that's Megan. Do you want to add anything to... I just summed up your 21 years in
like it.
A minute.
That's like it. That's like all the high points, all the good things.
There's nothing else.
Nothing else is necessary.
Well, this first question I have for you, because in 60 Minutes of Life Experience, I ask 5 questions that have to do with you. They have to do with, sometimes I just pick random book scenarios or movie scenarios for you to give advice on, or just like general life advice questions.
Love it.
So this one is kind of a you question, and you can talk a little more about yourself in the question. So, in moving from a small town to a big city, bigger city, what have you learned the most about yourself?
Wow. Okay. I would say one thing that I learned about myself was that small towns are like, they're very confining, and I didn't think it was confining when I was in it. I was like, oh yeah, like I know everyone here. I know I have like my routine. It's really cool. And like, I thought like, this is how it was everywhere kind of thing. But then like I moved to the big city, and it's just like, there's so much more out there that you don't think about and that you didn't ever consider. And then so like you move out and it's like, whoa, there's like way more than just one thing to do.
Yeah.
And way more than just one way to see things. And it's like, whoo, it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it was overwhelming.
Sensory overload.
Whew, yeah, it was very overwhelming. But like, I don't know, it's just...
But now it's good having adjusted to it.
Yeah, you just like, I don't know, you just like get to go out and like explore so many things. Like if you have a thought of like doing something, you're not like, oh, I have to drive 2 hours away to go do that. Like, no, I can go 20 minutes down the road and it's wonderful. Yeah.
And small towns really are like a bubble. Like they are almost like their own little world with its own rules and regulations, you know, and everyone's... And it can be a good thing. Like there are some good things about living in a small town, but like you said, there's cool restaurants and things to do that were never a thing in Michigan or northern Michigan area anyways. So that was a good answer.
Thank you.
Very, very good answer.
Thank you.
Question number 2 is actually an advice question that I'm drawing from one of my favorite movies. You might know it when I say it.
Okay.
The love of your life gets a job opportunity in Paris while you have your dream job opportunity at home. Do you stay and kind of let the relationship die out? Do you go with them to their job opportunity in Paris, or do you just try to make the distance work? Or an alternative option that I didn't list.
So I have my dream job and they have their dream job in Paris.
Yes, but it's like the love of your life.
Right.
So
I think first, like there has to be, I would have a good conversation about like, where am I at in my life right now? That like, yes, this is my dream job, but dream jobs exist in multiple places and a job is just a job at some point. And so it's like, where am I at in my life? If I'm at like a good place where I'm like, I cannot move, I would make the distance work, like if that's what it is. But like, I'm never sacrificing for a man. That's so much work.
So true. 100%.
But like,
I'm clipping that and putting it as my channel trailer.
I love it. Maybe sacrifice is the wrong word. Like, you have to make sacrifices, but I'm never compromising what
like
my dreams
job.
and like everything for
like,
one person.
You can almost say what you said, like your dream job could be anywhere. You could almost say the same thing about a relationship. Like your dream person could be anywhere.
Exactly.
Like you might think that's the one, but then 3 years later you meet someone better.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe if this person is the one, like maybe I would look in Paris to see, hey, what opportunities are there for me that is like similar to what I'm already doing.
Yeah.
Or
plus
maybe
it's Paris, like that's already cool, and you're with the love of your life.
You're so true.
So you're just saying you would like further examine your options and do a lot of self-reflection. Maybe a little meditation, some like counseling perhaps. Of course.
And it has to be open communication with the partner.
Yes.
Of course. Like, why do they feel they need to go to Paris? Like, is Paris the only option? Have we exhausted all options?
Exactly. So you're saying there are definitely more than 3 possible outcomes that I listed. Do you know what movie it's from?
I have no idea.
Have you seen La La Land?
Oh, La La Land. Yeah, I do. That.
You're not a fan of it? I haven't seen it in a long time. I just remember watching it for the first time and like making it my personality for the next year.
I'm a big fan. I do like it. I'm a big fan of movies that don't have happy endings. As bad as that sounds, so many people hate those movies. I'm like, it's so realistic.
Bold. I think it's like kind of something brave and new that people do because and that also the ending of that movie was as realistic as it could possibly be. But it also was heart-wrenching. And the fact that they dangled what would have happened in front of you, like a carrot, and then they were like, no, not today.
So much, they're just like, I think they're fun. They're different.
Yeah, So I like that answer. Yeah. Good. If you guys find yourself in that scenario, that was the official advice from
Talk to your partner.
Meg Roz. Meditate.
Meditate.
Question number 3, I first have to lay a little groundwork because it is about that amazing book series I was telling you about.
Right.
So,
my favorite.
When I was first going to publish The Last Heir, I had sent it to people to read and give me their opinions, but the thing that I told them, I said, I wrote this. So I was talking and I was like, I need someone who will give me their straight up opinion without like knowing me and not wanting to hurt my feelings. So I was like, who can I get to do this and tell them that it's like my friends and they'll just give me their terrible opinions. And then I was like, my friend Megan will do it. So I texted Megan. I was like, my friend Brooke, who actually has been on my videos before, I'm like, she wrote a story and she wants some advice on it. I'm like, I will tell Brooke your advice, so be as brutal as possible as you can to me. And so I sent my book to Megan, but Megan thought it was Brooke's book. So you were like ready to go in hard.
Yeah.
And then anyway, you read it and thank God you liked it. And then I remember you texted me all your thoughts, and I was like, yeah, Brooke wrote an amazing story.
I was so proud of Brooke.
And then I was like, so remember how I told you it was my friend's book? It was mine the entire time. Like Sahar and Alida.
I was betrayed.
Absolutely. I just told someone that, and they were like, that was mean of you. And I was like, how?
Mean.
They were like, that was just mean. And I was like, oh my God, was it? Like, I had this moment where I was like, was that a bad thing to do? But anyways, so Megan has been reading my book since before it was even a book. That's what I want to say to lay the groundwork of this, and I thought that was a funny story.
Yeah, I was betrayed.
Question number 3 is which character in Fall to Darkness resonates with you the most and why?
So we've actually talked about this. I texted you about this
like
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've written this before you texted
that is
me
so
about
funny.
That.
Yeah. So I texted Summer. I was like, Summer, which character do you think I'm most like? Because I needed to know. It had been on my mind. I needed to know. And
I could give you like the final verdict.
Yeah, I was like, we totally agreed because everything that she texted me, I was like,
you were already on that.
I was already there. I was like, I love it. So I think it's Alida is the one that
that's what we agreed on.
Yeah, that I most resonate with, just because like she's so like she comes from such like a sheltered world, and then she goes into like have all these adventures and like figure out like who
Almost
she is.
Exactly what you were saying like minutes ago.
Like who she is, like what the world is, like where she fits into that, and she gets to see all like meet all these different perspectives, and that really like you really see the growth in the 3 books.
Opens her mind a lot.
Yeah, you really see that growth, and I feel like I went through like such a similar process. And she's also like, she's so sarcastic and kind of just very quick humored, and
doesn't really take anyone else's as crap.
Yeah, and I do that a lot. So.
I can definitely see that.
So yeah, I just
it makes me sad because I actually just had a friend who's reading my first book text me, and she said verbatim, Alida annoys the freaking hell out of me. And it, like, I know people aren't gonna like every character, and I don't write every character to be liked, but that one was like, oh, step. But
after
I get
the first
it.
Book?
No, she's in the middle of the first book, so I can see where, because she's kind of like, when she's...
a little snooty.
Yeah, a little, like, kind of looking her nose down at people, like, but I just get to book 3, and I feel like she's my favorite in book 3, which I did say it kind of lays the groundwork for her being a more likable character in the next book. So
like,
that just broke my part. I'm like, give her a chance. Please don't let this.
You needed to make her unlikable to see the growth.
Exactly.
And there was so much growth.
And like, how many people do you know who have that like small mindset where they're just totally closed-minded and they only want to live like they want to live, and then you get to watch them grow and develop and realize there's a lot more out there, and so I think it's relatable too.
It is very relatable. I love her.
Bonus of this extension, Marry, Kiss, Kill, because this is for kids.
Right.
We have Roman, Laz, and Adriel. And if you haven't read the third book, you don't know who Laz is, but Megan has. So try not to say
so much pressure.
There is a lot of pressure.
Roman, Laz,
I don't even think I can answer that.
Oh my gosh, there's so much pressure. Okay, this is so much pressure. This is so much.
Your answer will determine how I write the rest of the series.
No, you're so true. You're so true. Okay.
Whoever you kill, I will actually kill.
Oh my gosh. I would literally die. I would sacrifice myself.
You're like, done. Kill me.
Kill me. I'll take it. Okay. Okay. So I think this is gonna be so bad. Okay, I think I'm gonna kill Laz. I know.
It's okay. Listen, you have to kill one of them.
I know, and I'm gonna try to give a very short reasoning that doesn't give anything away. Just because there's some trauma dumping that I don't think I can handle. I don't think I can handle that.
Absolutely agree with you.
I don't think I can do that. I feel like, dude, chill.
You just need to go to therapy. Yeah. I am not your therapist.
Let's calm down. And then, okay. Between Roman and Adriel, I think I'm gonna kiss Roman, as heartbreaking as that is, as wonderful as it is, but as heartbreaking as that is.
You're kissing him, so you get something.
Yeah, just because he's fantastic. I love his development. I love his development in the last book, in your third book. It is so fantastic. His whole story is great. And, like, I just love him.
I do too.
And then I'm gonna have to marry Adriel because just him in the third book is just everything. It's just everything.
I know. I'm detached enough from the book now, like, that I don't consider I forget I write it, so I'm viewing it strictly as a reader. I just am in love with him.
Yeah, no,
I get aggressively jealous of Alida in that one part where he's, like, helping her wound. I gave a spoiler alert, just so you know. I'm just like, this is not fair.
Yeah,
you get everything. You're a princess and you get what you want. So but that was what you said about Laz is in my last episode of 16 Minutes of Life Experience. The person who I was interviewing had not read book 3, so I did Ryder, Adriel, and Roman, and she decided to marry Ryder. That's my reasoning. I was like, I don't think I'm prepared to help you in the way you need to be helped.
Plus, he's like, I want to be my dad.
Yeah, I mean, I consider.
Like, I get the appeal.
When I was saying it, I thought of him as like Ryder is an 18-year-old, like level him out with people. But I was still like, even at that point, like
he'd been through it.
He was on the streets at like 12. He killed someone at 14. He was just like spiraling, and then it's like be in a healthy relationship.
I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, like I can barely take care of myself. I should not be able to take care of you.
Exactly. So like
Those were great answers. After this is done, I'm gonna go through every character and we're gonna do marry, kiss, kill.
As
So
we should.
Literally even the side characters.
As you should.
Question number 4. Take it. I should not have made this right after because I'm still laughing, and it's kind of a serious question, advice question.
Okay.
I've been kind of looking for this advice too, as things that have happened in my life. So sometimes moving on from a former partner is easier than moving on from a friend. What is your advice to people trying to move past a friendship with no closure? So I've recently, I've dated people in the past, and you break up, and it's like, in the moment of the breakup, it's this huge thing, and you're, sad and whatever. And then I've had, friendships end that, comparatively to the relationships I've been in, are so much harder to work through, which is weird because, they were just my friend, but still, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
So, fix my life, please.
Right,
Go.
of course.
Pressure's on.
Right. So, I think my best advice is to just, sometimes, you gotta be okay with not getting closure, and that's tough. That's a really hard thing to wrap your head around, but it's also, at some point, I always like to think, when I've had friendships end, not in the best ways, or, they just kind of, ended without anything happening, it's just, I'm exactly where I need to be right now, and they're exactly where they need to be. And, while, we may not, be in each other's lives right now, we learned, what did I grow from that relationship? How did I learn, and, what did it give me? And then I have to, think about all the things that I'm thankful for in that friendship, and then use that in my life, and, say, hey, we learned from each other, we're not in each other's lives right now, but, we still gave each other something, and then, moving on and being okay, you were where you need to be, I'm where I need to be.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
just, kind of staying present in, a moment, and then instead of, dwelling on something that, you might not get closure on ever.
Exactly.
That's really, yeah.
I think just because something ends in a negative way doesn't invalidate, the good memories that came from that friendship. That they were still good and you were still happy, but just life took you different directions.
Going off to college, that happened so, I talked to maybe one person from high school still, and not that I have anything against anyone that I was really close with in high school. It's just they have their own lives and their own friends, and I was so grateful to know them. But now I have my own life, and I have friends that I'm investing in now, and relationships I'm investing in, and so it's I need to be 100% present here, and maybe I'm bringing in things that I learned from my past friendships and making myself better and growing my relationships better.
Exactly. So, I've never thought about that with the learning things from relationships that improve your future relationship, at least in the realm of friendship.
Yeah.
I think I've thought of that more of oh, I know what I want out of someone dating wise, but in friendship that works too. So
yeah, because it's in my in a past friendship, if I wasn't very good at I don't know, communicating with someone, then it's okay, in this friendship, how do I communicate better? I know that was a problem, how do I do it better? Yeah, so I think it applies the same.
And I think seasons of life, just because I've had people, I kind of drift out of their lives and then drift back in and then drift out, and it's not because we're not tight, it's just because life takes you different places, but that's great advice. I feel healed inside, and hopefully
that'll be $100 for your therapy session.
I need it for what, 5 minutes?
Yeah, times are tough.
Do you see the price of eggs right now?
Exactly.
And finally, this is a question. It's kind of advice. It's kind of you. It's kind of us.
Okay.
Kind of everything.
Love it.
What was the biggest life lesson you took from softball?
Ooh.
Because we wouldn't know each other if it weren't for softball.
Right.
Obviously, it was a big part of both of our lives. So
I learned a lot about how to, rely on people, but also to, draw from my inner, strength in that sense. So obviously, softball's a team sport, but it's also really individual.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it. You're out there alone all the time, and, it's on you, and that's something that, I had to draw on something personally that okay, I am responsible for what I can do, and I'm responsible for the work that I can put in and the plays that I can make in this sense. So I feel that was one aspect that I took, but I also took that teammate, that relying on people, that depending on people aspect. Because it was so yeah, I'm out there, I'm making the plays on my own, but it's I need someone else to help me make that play.
You can't make every out.
Yeah, and I need I can get go 3 for 3 in a game, but like that's not gonna matter if the rest of my team is going 0 for 3.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you gotta be there to lift them up.
Exactly. Like, you really learn how to put yourself in a place where you know that you need to do well, but you also need to be lifting other people up and making sure everyone else is doing well.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of like, it brought me both aspects.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great answer. Because you want to say teamwork, but also your value as an individual. And that's one of the things, like, pitching, obviously the hardest thing is when you get a home run hit off you, because it's just like, who am I supposed to blame for that? Like, you can't be like, the outfielder should have reached over the fence. But one thing, after they hit a home run and all the fielders come in and stand around you while they run around the bases and are just like, hey, shake it off. It's kind of the perfect combination of that, like, individual, but like you might have failed as an individual, but there your team is bringing you back up. Like, and the home run being hit doesn't mean that the game has been lost. We won games where there's been home runs hit. So it's that balance of who you are as an individual and your team lifting you up. So what a great answer. Okay, this has been one of my favorite ones so far.
Nailing it.
Yeah. We rehearsed this 4 times.
I have a
before.
script. You can't see it. It's right here.
There's a teleprompter behind you.
Yeah.
I have a bonus question. I know I said 5, but it's back to I just want to say, when we drove down to the Chris Stapleton concert, it was an hour and a half, and we spent that hour and a half just talking about my books.
Yeah. So I think I had, like, finished it, like, the week before or something like that.
So it was all it was fresh in
like,
your mind.
Yeah,
and I was like
devastated and emotionally wrecked.
And
so
at
read
this
the book.
time, it wasn't published yet, so I hadn't had a chance to talk to anyone about it. It was all just like, and I was like, finally someone who I can, like, I trauma dumped on
as
you.
You should. Yeah.
But the question is, who is your favorite Fall to Darkness couple? And again, spoiler alert, but I gotta know. Yeah.
So my favorite couple is definitely the potential coupling of Alida and Adriel. Just because it's everything. It's so
totally
everything.
agree with you.
Like,
it's weird because when I wrote that it wasn't supposed to happen, which I told you that. And I've had people who have either been 100,000,000% on board, or people who are like, Sonny and Adriel, bring them back right now. So it's interesting to see, like, I've never had anyone who was like, yeah, they're an okay couple, like, who's neutral on it. They're either like for it or against it. So
like, it was just like, wow, I was so invested with Sonny and Adriel at the time. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Like, they're both coming from similar pains and they're working together. I was like, absolutely. But, like, then you see the dynamic with Adriel and Alida in the third book.
Chemistry.
And it's like, it's so much better. Like, the chemistry wasn't there in the first one.
Yes, which you don't realize until you get to the third book and you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
it was such a relationship of, like, convenience might not be the word, but like, just like the timing of it was just like, we need each other.
Exactly. I compared it to like a high school relationship where, especially a small town high school relationship, is like, would I ever choose, if I had a pool of 100 people, they would not be the person I choose. I would choose someone who has my interests and stuff, but like, they're here. So I'm gonna date them. That was like Sonny and Adriel, I think, is like a lot of their attraction was just based on convenience.
And plus, Adriel and Alida is like enemies to lovers, and
the banter,
so good. Oh my gosh.
I thought that's what you were gonna say, but I also was like, I could have seen you go the other way with Sonny and Sonny's potential love, but
I think she has better things coming. Potentially Laz.
That's what I thought. Like, when I actually talked someone into shipping Adriel and Alida because I was just telling them, like, look at how much that they have in common, and look how much Sonny and Laz have in common. Like, Adriel and Sonny were not. And also, one of the things, like, people critiquing my second book do you remember Sonny and Adriel kiss in the cave right before Auden comes? And they were like, there wasn't a lot of, like, chemistry to that kiss. And I was like, oh, that's not on purpose.
My bad.
Yeah, sorry, let me go rewrite that. But in my head, I was like, it is supposed to be one of those things that, like, leave you wanting more. Like, that should have been bigger, and it wasn't for either of them. And then you realize it's because they're. But hey, the rest of the books aren't out yet, so I'm not saying that I'm never gonna bring them back together.
Oh my gosh,
just kidding.
I will emotionally be wrecked.
I did.
Can't do this roller coaster.
One true pair. Anyways, thank you, Megan, for being on my show today. This was amazing. This is gonna be so good. I'm so excited to put it out. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Mhm.
And if you have any comments or questions or opinions of anything we said, if you think that you should leave your love and stay at the job at home or
Mhm.
like go with them to
Mhm.
Paris, just comment down below.
True.
So
If you want any more therapy sessions, leave them in the comments.
Megan, I will put Megan's phone number on the screen
Yeah.
right here. And definitely make sure to check out those amazing books we were talking about, Fall to Darkness.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
So thank you, Megan.
Of course.
And see you later.